Okay, everybody, hello. So, I'm gonna do the water, and I'm gonna put a how do you load a material from the default materials that you might have in these computers. Otherwise, you can do from scratch any material you want. You go to M, and I'm gonna right-click, and instead of saying create material standard, I'm gonna say load material. Okay, and it pops up this window, it says V-Ray material here, and you have some material collection or whatever. So just check for the ones you want. Metal. Select the ones you want, you say open. It, it will be here now, metal copper, and now is the time to right click and say apply material to selection. You go to the layer like pipes, and that's it, done. As you can see, right click on see materials, load materials, you have a very big bunch of materials. Okay, metal blur, blade, stainless steel, you have gold, chrome, and this is only metals. Okay, if you go to Bismarck material collection, you have marbles, liquids, and guess what? I'm not going to create water by default. We're going to just select it here. Okay. Cloth. You might have architecture stuff. I'm not sure. Stones, etc., etc. Okay. Now you must do one material list that uses an image, so you understand how to work out that process. Okay. So I'm going to use the water material now. Just double click and say water. Liquid, water, and open. As you can see, there's several waters because probably they depend on the scale of the blobbiness of the shakiness of the water. If you could say preview, select water and preview, this is what it gives you. Nice, no? At this point we need to go to layers, turn on the water. You can either select it here and right click, apply to selection, or right click, apply to layer, and select water. No? Good. This is the terrain, and these are the buildings. I haven't assigned material, so what I'm gonna do now is create a white material standard. Make it white or light gray. Call it terrain main. Select my terrain. I can again right click, apply to layer, and say terrain. And sometimes it does not work. If it doesn't work, just go here and do the same 2 times. Right click on terrain, select objects, right click on the material and say apply material to selection. Okay. Now at this point I will also move the water a little bit high, so I'm going to the front view and move it vertically. And let's see how this looks. Now the water renderings, I was expecting something like from different points here. Okay. You can obviously get closer, and something I didn't explain that is very important is cameras. Whenever you know where you want to be in terms of scale or size, there's 2 things that you should do. First, right click and double check that in set camera you adjust lenses. Okay, you click that, and if you press the left button and you go like that, you're changing and exaggerating the perspective. As you can see, it's exaggerating, no? So that's, and always taking a lot of care of how much you deform it. It's very nice to improve your camera views. And the second thing is right click and remember to save the view. It's very good to save the view by pressing here on save, no? And you call it camera 1, for example. Close that, and let's see how it looks. The background is white, and this is the water. And guess what? The water is gonna reflect the sky, you know? That dome that we placed. Let me close that and go further back. This is water, and it's still water, so it doesn't have a bumpy attitude, which is good, and it's reflecting the sky. Now if you want to put an image of a sky, I only recommend you do it in one of them. Keep the sky clean. I like the skies clean.
The sky white?
You can put a sky that is slightly like not the same one. I mean, it has to be similar to what you're reflecting, especially if you reflect it like that, no? But what I'm trying to get is these reflections of your model, okay? That's what I want. Let's see how the other material looks. If I say right click, load, water 2, select, apply to selection, preview. You see how when I preview this one it looks like has a blobbiness? That means that it has a bump attached to it, the same way we did other times. See how this one looks, and I think this water definitely takes a lot of memory, so I wouldn't recommend using that water. Let's do something else instead. We're gonna use I'm gonna delete this one, remove. I'm gonna give this material, apply material to layer, sorry, to selection. And what we're gonna do is go to the M for material and create a, this has a Fresnel. Change this to noise, preview, and change the size to 5. Let's see how it looks. So by changing the bump in the image, what it's doing is this effect, like it's, you know, like unshaky. It's like shaky, the water, no? And that's gonna deform also the reflections. So we don't see much there, but you see a little bit of a factor there happening. Let's close that and change. Oh wait, that's the reflection, sorry. That was dumb. Fresnel. I want to change the bump here in the bottom, not in the reflection. Be careful because there's many layers here in the water, so you have to change the one that corresponds with the bump here. Click M and you say noise. Let's put this as 2. You say OK, and let's see what happens. The water is shaky now. Now before it was wrong, I checked, I changed the map for the reflections. What we want to do is change the map for the bump, okay? So again, because the water is shaky now, it's reflecting in different angles, different things, so it's gonna take a little bit longer. Now you probably see a little bit there of how that's gonna look. See that wobbling? That's more of a water that is in motion compared to the other one that was very still, okay? I would like to see waters that have this effect actually. So I think they're much more logical or more realistic, especially for a river. If it's a lake, it could be still. Now probably the bump is also very big, but why not? This looks good. If you want to make the bump smaller, you can close that, go to the bump and change that to 0.25. You can also go to the map and change the size to be a little bit smaller, like 0.5. Okay, and let's render a little window now. Right click, and let's see how it looks. So the glass should be, for you guys, unloaded. You can load a material. There's one called glass, you know, transparent color, and you change the colors. You duplicate, change the color, duplicate, change the color, etc., etc. Let me close the video. Let's go for